to the earth, and did obedience.
Obeisance.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And David said unto him, From whence comest thou?
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto him, Out of camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also.
Right. So this is immediately after the death of Saul, because Israel was in battle at war with the Philistines, and Saul had lost his life in that battle. So now David came across this Israelite, and they asked him, where you coming from? He said, I just escaped from the camp of Israel. It's a soldier that escaped from the camp. And David asked him what happened. So he told him, the Philistines basically got the upper hand on Israel, and the Israelite soldiers fled from the battle. Both Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead. Read on.
Verse 5. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me and called unto me. And I answered, Here am I. Verse 8. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite.
Wait a minute, it's an Amalekite. Okay. It was an Amalekite that David ran across. It wasn't an Israelite. It was an Amalekite. So David asked, you know that Saul and Jonathan are dead. So this Amalekite is telling David that I happened to be passing by and saw Saul leaning upon his sword, and Saul called unto him and asked him who he was. So he identified himself as an Amalekite. I'll read on.
Verse 9. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood.
Right. So Saul was in much pain. He was wounded to the point that he knew he wasn't going to recover, and he was on his last breath, so to speak. He was in much pain and wanted to be relieved. Plus, I guess he was reflecting back on all the situation that was going on with the altercation with David, and that situation with conjuring up Samuel, the spirit of Samuel, and Samuel told him that tomorrow, this day, you're gonna be with me. Meaning what? You're gonna be dead. So Saul was probably reflecting on all that. I knew that his time was come, so it didn't make sense for him to prolong that, because he was in much pain. Read on.
Verse 10. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I have brought them hither unto my Lord. Then David took and hold of his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him.
See that? Now that's the kind of person that David was. I mean, he didn't rejoice. He knew that he was going to be the successor to Saul, to be the king of Israel, to be the new king of Israel upon Saul's death. But still, David knew that Saul was someone who the Most High had anointed to be king of Israel. So David didn't take any pleasure in Saul's death. And he lamented, and the men that were with David, they also rent their clothes and was weeping and lamenting for the death of Saul, because that was a big loss in the nation of Israel. Right? And this guy, this Amalekite told David that he actually finished Saul off, so to speak. He actually killed him. Saul was to the point that he couldn't recover. So he asked Amalekite to kill him, and the Amalekite did it. Kill him and took his element and his crown and the bracelet and all that, and brought it to his Lord. Which Lord was maybe brought it to, and brought them hither unto my Lord. We're gonna find out who he was trying to bring those those items to. The crown, Saul's crown, which is the king of Israel's crown, and the bracelets, which all probably had on the mark or the signature of Saul. Read on.
Verse
Signature.
12. Like a signet.
Right.
Yeah. Verse 12. And they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan his son and for the people of the Most High and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite.
Right. So the wept for Saul from until the evening. Because there was a big loss in Israel, and David asked the guy again, who? Whence art thou? Where you from? He said, I'm a stranger, an Amalekite. Read on.
Verse 14. And David said unto him, How hast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Most High's anointed?
Mm-hmm.
And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died.
Right. So David said, how was it that you wasn't afraid to smite or to kill the Most High's anointed? That really pissed David off. David didn't want to hear anything about he was terminally injured or whatever. I'm saying that's the Most High's anointed. You should have been afraid. You should have refused to kill him. So David has called for one of his men to slay the Amalekite, and they killed him. Read.
Verse 16. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth have testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Most High's anointed. And David lamented with his lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
Right, so David is getting ready to get. He knew that there was going to be a lot of battles going forward, because by the way, he was planning to avenge Saul's death. He was planning to make a war against the Philistines. I guess the Judah tribes probably wasn't very proficient in a bow and arrow. And that's that maybe the other tribes were more skilled in that. But no, him being a Judite, and the Judites were very numerous, and we're probably going to be closest to him. He made us. He ordered that the Judites be taught the skill of the proficiency in bow and arrow, use of bow and arrow as a weapon. Read.
Verse 19. The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not to Gad. Publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon. Lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice. Lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor the fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty is vainly cast away, the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the son of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their eyes.
In their lives.
In their lives, Slakia. And in their deaths they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, and they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on raiments of gold upon upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of woman. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished?
Right. So David was reflecting on on the passing of Saul and Jonathan, and he gave an order to make sure to not have it be broadcast to the to other nations, to the Gath and Ashkelon, because the enemies will rejoice over the slaying of Jonathan and Saul, even though they knew it was going to go on anyway, but they wanted to be broadcast too much, because enemies would take comfort in that and get confident and think that Israel is now in disarray and it's open for prey. And David was reflecting on the friendship that he had with Jonathan, and the unity that Jonathan and his father Saul had, and all that. Read on chapter 2.
Chapter 2. And it came to pass after this, that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, Unto Hebron. So David went up hither, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam and Jezreel.
The Jezreelites.
The Jezreelites, and Abigail, the Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household. And they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, that the men of Judah,
Jabesh Gilead.
That the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul.
Right. So David asked Moses if he should go up to Judah, because before that David was all over the place hiding from Saul, running from Saul, because Saul was trying to kill David. So Jonathan, his son, would be crowned king of Israel upon Saul's death. So Saul was all over the place, even sojourning amongst the Philistines who were at war with Israel. So now, at Saul's death, David asked Moses if he should go up to Judah to establish himself. And Moses said, "Yeah, go up to Judah. Go up to Hebron." So David took his 2 wives and his men with him and went to Hebron and got situated. Let me see what verse 4 says. And the men of Judah came, and they were anointed, and they anointed David king over the house of Judah. So they initially anointed David king of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. Okay, so the men of Jabesh Gilead were. Let me see the map. Can I see the map? Let me see if we can locate Jabesh Gilead. Jabesh Gilead. The men of Jabesh Gilead. All right, it's right here. Right, see that right there. I can see right there, right there. Right? Is that right? That's it right there. Jabesh Gilead. Can I blow it up a little bit? Let me see that. That's on the east side of Jordan. It's on the east side of Jordan. Let me see if which Jabesh Gilead. Okay, so that's whose territory was that in? That's in Manasseh. It looks like that's the territory of the men of Jabesh Gilead. It looks like that's east of the Jordan, where the half tribe of Manasseh were. All right, and below that was Gad. So Jabesh Gilead. So those men. Then we have Ramoth Gilead over there. Jabesh Gilead. Okay, so that's the territory of the half tribe of Manasseh that settled along the eastern River Jordan when Israel was initially occupying the land. Gad, half tribe of Manasseh, and Reuben stayed in east of River Jordan. All right, go back to the script.
Verse 5. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead and said unto them, Blessed be the Most High.
Read again.
And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Most High, that ye have showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him.
Right. So remember initially when the Philistines had killed Saul, they took him and they took his body to their territory and put his head upon in the temple of the idol. So Israelite men, I think men of Gilead, probably they went to I think so. So they went to retrieve the body and the head of Saul. So they were the ones who buried Saul. So David was now showing his appreciation for the love and respect that they showed to Saul, because they were the ones who recovered his body from the Philistines and buried him. Read.
Verse 6. And now the Most High shew kindness and truth unto you, and I also will requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Therefore now let your hands be stretched and strengthened and be valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. But Abner, the son of Ner, captain.
Right. So David was showing his appreciation and recognition to the Jabesh Gilead, the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, for the kindness that they showed to Saul by burying him honorably. I know David was trying to form an alliance with the men of Jabesh Gilead, and try to encourage them now to strengthen themselves and be valiant, because they have a lot of wars ahead of them. Read on, verse 8.
Verse 8. But Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, and made him king over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel.
Right, so Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, he didn't recognize David as king of all Israel. Okay, so he went about to anoint Saul's other son. Took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, and they made him king over Israel, notably over different tribes, to gain respect of those other tribes, to form an alliance, because they knew that David was already anointed king of Judah. Okay, but David wasn't recognized as king of all Israel yet. So they anointed Saul's other son as king of the other tribes of Israel, including Ephraim, Asher, Benjamin, and all other territories. Read on.
Verse 10. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years, but the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. And Abner, the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And
so Abner, the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. That's where that is. My name was that
It's Gibeon.
Gibeon.
Gibeon by Judah.
Gibeon, okay. Right in Benjamin territory. My name, okay. To Gibeon, okay. That's where they went. Okay. Manahem, it doesn't show what Manahem is, but more than likely, it's probably somewhere in Benjamin anyway. But I guess Gibeah is a bigger city. Okay, but I guess it was another part of Benjamin. Read on.
Verse 13. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out.
Yeah, put this one up. Leave that one up. It shows more territories. So, yeah. Read on.
Verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And Joab and the son of Zeruiah and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeah, and they sat down, and one on the Slakia, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said unto Joab, Let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise.
What does that mean? Let them play.
Let them fight.
Let them fight, right? So Joab was a servant of Zeruiah, of the servants of the son of Jeruai, and the servant of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon. So that was like a confrontation right there. And Abner said to Joab, Abner the host of of Saul's son, and Joab was the host of David's military. So say let them fight. No matter fight. They Judah against Benjamin right now.
Right.
That's basically what it came down to. Read on.
Verse 15. Then there arose and went over by the number 12 of Benjamin, which retaineth to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David.
Right, so 12 Benjamites, 12 Judahites. Right. So I guess that was, that was like a meeting say, hey, Abner was saying, you know Saul was king, right? So obviously his son got to be king of Israel.
Right.
And Joab said, nah, the most I know that David to be king. So there was an argument going on. I guess let's see about it then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So they decided to say, okay, let them fight it over. So they got 12 Judahites, 12 Benjamites. And
Could we call this a royal rumble? That's a little joke. That's what they would call it nowadays in the wrestling ring. Good.
Read on.
Verse 16. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side, so they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Helkath Hazurim, which is Gibeon.
Which is in Gibeon. Where's that? Gibeon. Which is in Gibeon.
It's inside Gibeon.
Which is inside Gibeon. Show
Which is in Gibeon.
Where's Gibeon again? Show me Gibeon.
Inside Benjamin.
Right, Gibeon. Right, exactly. Right, because Judah is not far from Benjamin. It's right below.
God.
Right. Okay, that's where they're far in Benjamin. Read on.
Verse 17. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. And there were three sons of Zeruiah there, Joab and Abishai, and Ashahel. And Ashahel was a light of foot as a wild roe.
Aaron was as light of foot as a wild roe. He was very quick on his feet. A wild roe is an animal that does very, very quick on their feet. It's moving around real fast.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't flat footed or nothing like that. It was very sharp and very
Agile.
very agile, very athletic. Yeah. So it looks like from this what we're reading that Judah got upper hand, and Abner was beaten. So meaning and the men of Israel before the servants of David. Right. So David Judah had the upper hand over Abner and his men. Read on. Verse 19.
Verse 19. And Asahel pursued after Abner, and in going, he turned not to the right nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asahel? And he answered, I am.
So that was one of Joab's sons, right? And there were 3 sons, and there were 3 sons of Joab and Abishai. Okay, that was Joab's brother. Read on. Pursuing after Abner. Read on.
Verse 21. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right hand, or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following out of him. Verse 22. And Abner said again to Asahel, Turn thee aside from following me, wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother?
Right, so Abner says, Stop following me, man. When you keep following me, I don't want to kill you, because if I kill you, I don't want to have a problem with your brother Joab. Read on.
Verse 23. Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner with the hinder end of the spear smote him under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there, and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still.
Right, so he kept following Abner. Asahel kept following Abner. Abner had no choice but to throw a spear in him and kill him. And a lot of people was spectating. They saw exactly what happened. Read on.
Shalamah, we in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2 and verse 24. Joab also and Abishai and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammiah, that lieth before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. Verse 25. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together.
Right, so now, Abner killed Joab's brother. So now Joab and his other brother, Abishai, were in pursuit of Abner to take revenge. Read on verse 25.
Verse 25. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner, and became one troop, and stood on the top of an hill.
Right, so now the Benjamins are back right behind Abner. Okay, read on. So it's going to come to a tribal battle now. Read on.
Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Thou wast know not.
Are we going to war forever? Read on.
Knowest thou that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then? Ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren.
Right. Don't you know it's going to be it's going to end. It's not going to end very pretty. It's going to be a bitter end. How long we're going to continue this? Ere thou did bid the people return from following their brethren. How long is it going to be before you tell the people to stop following me? Read on.
Verse 27. And Joab said, As the Most High liveth, unless thou hast spoken surely, then in the morning the people had gone up, every one from following his brother. So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still, and pursued after Israel no more, neither fought they any more. Verse 29. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim, and Joab returned from following Abner. And when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men and Ashahel. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 313 score men died.
303 scores, so 360 men died of Israel, of Benjamin, versus only 19 of David's men. So you see that was very lopsided battle.
Right.
As far as the outcome. The men of David's men was more valiant warriors than the men of Saul's, of Abner's men. Read on.
Verse 32. And they took up Ashahel and buried him in a sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at break of day.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. Now there was long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amnon of
Ahinoam, the Jezreelites.
Ahinoam, the Jezreelites, and the second Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the third Absalom, the son of Maach, the daughter of Talmai, king of Talmai, king of Jeshurun.
So David had a third wife, at least a third wife. King Talmai, king of Geshur. That sounds to me like another nation. Okay, it says king of Geshur. Where's Geshur? Can we see what Geshur is?
It should be in Judah or
No, it's another nation.
another nation.
Just king, right?
Khan.
So the fact that it was king, meaning David was king of Judah,
That's
at
another
least.
nation.
All right, or at this point in time, probably king of all Israel, whether maybe not officially, but king of Jeshurun, that must be another nation. Maybe not as prominent as as Egypt or a nation like that, but that was another nation somewhere around the territory of Israel, Geshur. Read on.
Verse 4. And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of
Adonijah, yeah.
the son of Haggith, and the fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital, and the sixth, Ithream, by Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron.
Right, so David had many different children by many different wives. Read on.
Verse 6. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah.
So now this is reflecting back. Understand? You can consider it, right? Because Saul, at this point we know Saul is dead.
There's a shirt right
Hmm?
it's like next to
Oh,
Well,
sure.
Geshur. Okay,
Yeah,
so
the
right.
king of-
So that's Talma. What's his name?
Right, so that's
Talmia. The
Geshur.
king.
Right, so right. That's the territory of the Ammonites, it appears. Aramean. Right.
That was one of his wives'
Geshur.
territory.
So they probably offered her to David to make peace with David. Okay. So now read verse 7 again. Read verse 6 again.
Verse 6. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul.
Right, so this is reflecting back because this is going back to when Saul was alive. Right, when Saul was warring with David, Abner was a host, was Saul's host, and he strengthened himself to serve his master Saul. Master Saul. Read on.
And Saul had, verse 7, and Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said unto Abner, wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine?
So so Ishbosheth was Saul's other son, said that Abner was the captain of the host of Saul's army. Why did he go? Why did he sleep with my father's concubine? So, because Abner was slept with his King Saul's concubine. Read on.
Verse 8. Then was Abner very wroth, for the words of Ishbosheth said, Am I a dog's head, which against Judah do shew kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren and to his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman?
Right. So now Ishbosheth, King Saul's son, who was now anointed king of the tribes except for Judah, was now confronting Abner as to why he slept with his father's concubine. But wait a minute, I'm trying to figure out if he slept with Saul's concubine after Saul's death or while Saul was alive. Then was Abner very wroth for the words of Ishbosheth, and said, Am I a dog's head? What am I, a dog's head? Am I worthless? Which against Judah do show kindness this day? Which against Judah do show kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren, unto his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman. So Abner was saying, what am I, a worthless dog or something? A man of no value? I mean, I could have delivered you into the hand of David if I wanted to. I'll show you kindness by protecting you, by seeing that you get anointed to be king.
Right.
And you want to repay me by what? Accusing me of sleeping with your father's concubine. Well, he doesn't make he doesn't say whether Abner slept with Saul's concubine after Saul's death or before. But at any rate, it seems as if Saul's son was upset that Abner did it. More than likely, it's probably after Saul's death that Abner slept with his concubine. Read on.
Verse 9. So do God to Abner, and more also, except the Most High hath sworn to David, even so do to him. To translate,
Even so I do to him.
Even so I do to him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 10. To translate the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Beersheba.
Right, so that was very upsetting to Abner, that I'll get the pronunciation correct, Ishbosheth would accuse him of sleeping with his father's concubine. So that upset Abner to the point that, you know what, I'm going to turn this for that. I'm going to turn the kingdom over to this old kingdom over. I'm going to side with David now. I'm going to turn the kingdom over to David, so David can be the king over all Israel. Read on.
Verse 11. And he could not answer Abner a word again, because he feared him. And Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, Whose is the land? Saying also, Make thee league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee, to bring about all Israel unto thee. And he said,
Right, so Abner was a warrior. So Ishbosheth was he had basically toned it down. He didn't want to have an altercation with Abner because Abner was a warrior. Ishbosheth was the king's son. You didn't even hear much about Ishbosheth when Saul was alive. All I heard about was Jonathan. Understand? But this guy probably he was probably maybe sheltered, but because he was of the lineage, Abner had him anointed king. But now he want to turn his back and want to turn against Abner and accuse him of sleeping with his father's concubine. And Abner didn't like that. Abner felt that like he was being ungrateful to him. I could have delivered you to David's hand, but I strengthened your military, and now you be anointed king over Israel, and this is how you want to repay me. So now Abner went about trying to form a league, some kind of alliance with David, and said, I'm going to turn this kingdom over to you so you can be king over all Israel, over the land of all Israel. Read on.
Verse 13. And he said, Well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, that thou not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face.
Right, so David said, I make a league with you, but I didn't want to see you unless he brings Michal, because remember this, Michal, she was very much in love with Saul, with David, and she was actually David's wife initially. Yeah, his first wife. But then, but the altercation between David and Saul got so heated, and Saul and so hateful of David that they took his daughter, Michal, and gave her to another man. And that's what David said, but David don't want her back because David and her was very much in love.
Right. Remember, she made the goat. She made that little pillow, the little head with the fur.
Right,
so you can
right.
Get away.
Exactly. Read.
Verse 14. And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, Deliver me my wife, Michal, which I espoused to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines.
Right, so that's how David got his wife, because he actually risked his life to get the foreskin of the Philistines, because Saul probably thought he was going to get killed, trying to do that. That was a very unusual request, to have the foreskin of the men. You know what I'm saying? What about 100 shekels? 200 shekels, 1,000, whatever. So I actually have a foreskin. How about the head? What about the head? But actually have the. Damn, he had to circumcise his man. I mean, the foreskin. Yeah, that was wicked of Saul to have that unusual request, man. And David said that. But David did it because that's how much he wanted to have. That's how much he want. How do you equate this? I'll compare this to Jacob serving 14 years. Jacob served 14 years for Rachel and Leah, but David went in a battle, in the heat of a battle.
100 foreskins.
I mean, to slay these Philistines and then circumcise them. So yeah, I did all that. I want my wife.
Yeah.
I risked my life.
Right.
And you took her from me?
Mm-hmm.
I want my wife. So David said, make sure you send me my wife. Read on.
Verse 15. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish.
So Ishbosheth sent and took Michal from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish. Read on.
And her husband went with her alone, weeping behind her to Bahurim. Then said Abner unto him, Go return. And he returned.
Right, so man, that must be a fine woman.
Yeah.
That Michael must be a fine woman, man. David risked his life amongst the feared Philistines by slaying whatever number of the Philistines and getting the foreskins. You know, and then Saul took her, or the spite Saul took her from David and gave her to this guy. I know, no, Abner sent to get her, took her from this guy. And this guy was weeping, man. Damn, they must have a fine woman. This guy's crying. Oh, my wife back. Yo, Abner said, yo, man, get back to your home, man. She ain't a woman no more.
That's the virtuous woman, the Israelite woman.
Oh.
You go to chasing them, you know. Can't let them go.
Read on.
Verse 17. And Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, Ye sought after David in times past to be king over you. Now then do it, for the Lord hath spoken of David, saying, By the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
Right, so Abner is now trying to get the influence or the consent, agreement of the elders of Benjamin and the other tribes outside of Judah. So I said, remember in time past, you sought for David to be king over you. Now he is king over Judah, and he wants to be king over all the tribes of Israel. So now is the time for you to back David. Read on.
And out of the hand of all their enemies. Verse 19. And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin, and Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron, and all seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him, and David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast.
Right, so Abner went about like in a campaign. First, he met with the elders of Benjamin under the Israelite under the tribes. He met with the Benjamin people in general, secretly, people of influence, and they seem, yes, it's a good idea. David is a good person. He was the one who killed Goliath. You know the history of David, how he fought with all Israel. And now we send gifts to all the prominent people in Israel that when he made those raids against the other Amalekites and the other nations. And I said, and they were for it. So Abner went. Abner went also to David, and David said, "Yeah, okay, great." And they made a feast for Abner and the 20 men that came with him. Read on.
Verse 21. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel unto my lord the king, and they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign over all that thine hath desired. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. And behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought in a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace.
Right. So remember the altercation with Joab, the captain of David's army. Right. Abner would kill his brother because his brother was pursuing after Abner. And Abner's threw the spear through his gut, his belly. But Joab wasn't there at the feast when David made the feast for Abner and his 20 men. But when Abner had left to go back to Benjamin, Joab was just returning from a raid that he and his men had made against some other nation. Read on.
Verse 23. When Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he hath sent him away, and he is gone in peace. Mm-hmm. Then Joab came to the king and said, What hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away, and he is quite gone?
Right. So Joab was going to concern. Why did he send him away? What had he done? Why did he send him away? I guess Abner wanted to kill him. I mean, Joab wanted to kill Abner because he was still boiling, trying to take revenge, to avenge the death of his brother. Read on.
Verse 25. Thou knowest Abner, the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah, but David knew it not.
Right. So after Joab spoke with David, he sent men to go out to pursue after to Abner and bring him to Joab. But David wasn't aware of all this. Right?
Verse 27. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him there under the fifth rib, that he died. For behold, for the blood of Ashiel his brother.
Right. So that's the reason why he was still boiling. He had hatred for Abner, because Abner had killed his brother Asahel. So Joab killed Abner. You know?
Verse 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Most High, forever, from the blood of Abner, the son of Ner. Let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house, and let there not fail from the house of Joab one that hath an issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on a staff, or that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread. So Joab and Abishai his brother slew Abner, because he had slain their brother Abishai at Gibeon in the battle.
Right. So David said, I got nothing to do with this, Most High. My hands are clean. Don't hold me accountable. Don't let this fall upon my house. Let all the guilt fall upon Joab's house. This guy, I had nothing to do with this. This was done behind my back. I was totally unaware of all this. Read on.
Verse 31. And David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rend your clothes and gird you with sackcloth, and mourn before Abner. And the king and King David himself followed the bier. And they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. And the king lamented over Abner, and said, died Abner's a fool's death. Thy hands were not bound.
Read it again.
Verse 33. And the king lamented over Abner, and said, died Abner's a fool death.
No. And the king lamented over Abner and said, died Abner as a fool dieth? Did he die as a fool?
Nah, he didn't fulfill his days.
No. He's not. Did he died Abner as a fool dieth? Did he die as a fool died?
Nah.
He wasn't a fool. He wasn't somebody stupid, or a man of no worth. He was a valiant man, a prince in Israel, a man of renown, an important man. He wasn't a regular guy. He did die as a fool.
Nah.
That's what David was saying. Read on.
Verse 33. And the king lamented over Abner, and said, died Abner's as a fool died.
It's a question that it was like a rhetorical question. Died Abner as a fool? No, we didn't die as a fool. Read first, read verse 34. Read on.
Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters, as a man falleth before wicked men. So fallest thou. And all the people wept again over him.
Right. Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters, So your hand wasn't bound. You wasn't taken as a prisoner of war. Understand? As a man falleth before wicked men, so fellest thou. So he was saying that he was deceived. It was because David recognized that even though Joab was his armor bearer or the captain of his host, he recognized what Joab did was wicked. Because Joab, first of all, did that behind his back.
Right.
So David was saying, as a man falleth before wicked men, so fellest thou.
Okay.
So as a man who fell before a wicked person, that's how Abner, because Abner thought that the situation with Joab's son, with Joab's brother, had passed. That he understood why, because Joab's brother was pursuing after Abner, so he had no choice but to kill him. But that wasn't the, but Joab was still holding a grudge, unjustifiably. So that's how he died so when Joab sent to for Abner, he probably sent to Abner on the false pretense, as if trying to come together under the alliance.
Right, make the league.
Right, make a league with them. But when they were when they're talking, he should have he smote him under the fifth rib and killed him. That's how David was saying he died as someone who died in front of died at the hand of a wicked man. Read on.
Verse 35. And when all the people came to cause David to eat meat while it was yet day, David sware, saying, so do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else, till sun be down.
So David said, they're calling for David to eat. He said, no, I'm not going to eat anything. He swore to the Most High, David swore, saying, so do the Most High to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else, or anything else. I'm not going to eat any food or drink anything till sundown. I'm going to basically saying I'm going to fast on this. Read on.
And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as whatsoever the king did please all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not the king to slay Abner the son of Ner.
Right. So the people recognized that David was very remorseful of Abner's death. They realized he had no part in the killing of Abner. So the people wasn't holding a grudge against David. They realized it was all Joab's action. Read on.
And the king said unto his servants, know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel, and I am this day weak, though anointed king, and these men the sons of Zeruiah be too hard for me. The Most High shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness.
Right. So David said, a prince just fell. This wasn't a regular man. A prince of Israel just fell. Understand? This is a man of renown. This is a man of just like Saul. This was Saul was anointed. Abner was Saul's captain of the host of his army. He was also anointed. He was playing a prominent role to the Most High's servant. So David was respectful of that. Understand? And so what he was saying, for I am this day weak, though anointed king. Even though I'm king, I'm still weak. And these men, the sons of Zeruiah, be too hard for me. Well, who those men? Joab and his brother. Because Joab and his brother were men were men of valor also. Understand? So even though David was king, these men were mighty men also in Israel. And it would be a hard confrontation for David to go up against them. Because they had the nerve to do this behind David's back. Because they know that David probably wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But David recognized know that this day, this was done by evil men. All right, chapter 4.
2 Samuel chapter 4. And when Saul's son heard that Abner was dead in Hebron, his hands were feeble, and all the Israelites were troubled. And Saul's son had 2 men that were captains of bands. The name of the one was Banan, and the name of the other Rechab, the sons of Rimmon, a Beerothite, of the children of Benjamin. For Beeroth also was reckoned in Benjamin. And the Beerothites fled to Gittim, and were sojourners there until
this day. So Saul had so Saul's son had two men that was over 2 of his bands. It was a different bands. I mean, it's military, and they're from what Beerothites. Show me another map of let's see what Beerothite is. It's part of Benjamin also, guys. Part of Benjamin, according to what I'm seeing. See Benjamin, yeah. All right, it doesn't matter. It's all right. It's a part of Benjamin. It's a Beerothite. So the men, so these men now, they saw that David was now king of Israel, all of Israel. So they realized that they were not, and they saw what has happened to Abner. So they realized that, hey, we better get out of here. Man. Very soon they're going to come after us too. So what do? They abandoned the king of Israel, Saul's son. So they abandoned Saul's son and their position as a captain of the different bands of his army. Read on.
Verse 4. And Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son that was lame of his feet. He was 5 years old when the tidings came of Saul, and Jonathan out of Jezreel, and his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass, as she made haste to flee, that he fell and became lame, and his name was Mephibosheth.
Right. So Jonathan's son, when the war was going on between the Philistines, they were fleeing, but he fell and hurt himself and became lame. Read on.
Verse 5. And the sons of Rimmon, the Beerothite, Rechab and Baanah, went and came about the heat of the day to the house of Ishbosheth, who lay on a bed at noon.
Right. So the two sons of Beerothite, who were captain of the different bands of Ishbosheth army. Yeah. Read on. They came to him privily, unawares, that they snuck upon him like an ambush. Read on.
Verse 6. And they came hither into the midst of the house, as though they would have fetched wheat, and they smote him under the 5th rib. And Rechab and Baanah his brother escaped.
So they killed him. So they killed the king. So they killed the king of the other of Israel, the other tribes, except for Judah. The two brothers were captains of the different bands of his army. They went back as if they were getting some wheat from the farm or from the barn, and they killed him. Read on.
For when they came into the house, he lay on his bed in his bedchamber, and they smote him and slew him, and beheaded him and took his head, and gaped them away through the plain all night. Mm-hmm. And they brought the head of Ishbosheth unto David to Hebron, and said to the king, Behold, the head of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, thine enemy, which sought thy life. And the Lord, and the Most High have avenged my Lord, and the king this day of Saul, and of his seed.
Right, see that, Saul? So now they were trying to find favor in David's sight. You did me right, we turncoats. Coward turncoats. I'm saying, they saw what happened to Abner. They saw that the tide was turning. They saw that the strength was now going to David. The power was now shifting to David. The power shifting to David now. So now they were trying to be on the side of what that who seems to be winning, which was David. And to do that, what did they do? They killed their master. They killed their king. The two captains of the host of Ishbosheth army went privily, snuck up on him while he was sleeping and killed him, cut off his head, and brought his head to David. Trying to find David, a favor in David's sight and say, see, we are brought to the head of the son of Saul. That same Saul was trying to kill you for how long? Read on. Let's see how that plays out. Read on.
Verse 9. And David answered Rechab and Baanah, his brother, the sons of Rimmon and the Beth-be-rothites, and said unto them, As the Most High liveth, who hath redeemed my soul out of all adversaries, when one told me, saying, Behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings, I took hold of him and slew him in Ziklag, who thought that I would have given him a reward for his tidings.
Right. So David. So all this wasn't known. David wasn't someone to brag about. You know.
Mm-hmm.
This is something he did because of the heart and spirit that the Most High put in him.
Right.
So all these things that he did, he didn't brag about it. So these two captains of the bands of Ishbosheth wasn't aware of that. So David told him what happened and how that Amalekite had killed Saul. And then I told David, I'm thinking that David was going to be happy to know that Saul was dead. Read on.
Verse 11. How much more when wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed?
Right. How much more when wicked men have slain a righteous person upon his own bed? Read on.
Shall I not therefore now require his blood of your hand and take you away from the earth?
So they were shocked to see what David was saying, to see what David was acting. They thought they were going to get a reward or some promotion from David, or be a captain of some part of David's band or something. David tell him, no, when that Amalekite who killed Saul, who was a wicked man, brought his crown and his bracelet to me, thinking I was going to give him a reward, realized, hey, that's not going to happen, and I kill him instead. Even though Saul was a wicked man, but you guys just kill a righteous man in his own bed. So how much you think? So what kind of reward do you think you're gonna get? If I kill a man who kill a wicked man, which I know that shouldn't have been killed, but you just kill a righteous man in his own bed. So what kind of reward do you think you're gonna get?
Right.
Read.
Verse 12. And David commanded his young men, and they slew them, and cut off their hands and their feet, and hanged them up over the pool in Hebron. But they took the head of Ishbosheth and buried it in the sepulchre of Abner in Hebron.
Right. So David commanded his men to fall upon those two turncoats with the bands of Ishbosheth, the king.
Hanged it.
Right, and I hung them up. But they buried Ishbosheth's head next to Abner in the sepulchre in Hebron. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. 2 Samuel chapter 5. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that leadest out and broughtest in Israel.
Right, so now all the tribes of Israel came to David to acknowledge David to be king. And reminded David that back in the days, remember, how it was you who was leading on the army of Israel against the Philistines. Read on.
And the Most High said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Most High. And they anointed David king over Israel. Verse 4, David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years.
Right, so all the elders of the different tribes came together and anointed David to be king over all Israel. David reigned for 40 years. He was 30 when he was king. He reigned for 40 years, so he lived to be 70 years old. Read on.
Verse 5. In Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land. Which
right, let me show my old map now. Show my map. Yeah. So at this time now, David was king over all Israel. Understand? Not just king over Judah, but king over all the 12 tribes of Israel, including the 3 tribes who's on the side of River Jordan. Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. Okay. Let me see. Show me. Let me see that one. All right, show me one when before Israel went on, before Israel was actually in the land. Yeah, is that possible? With a different, okay. All right, that's probably good. Let me see that one. No, that, yeah. Read on now. Verse 5 again.
Verse 5. In Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah.
Right, so in Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. Okay, read on.
Verse 6. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land.
Right, so the Jebusites, who were the Jebusites? Were they Israelites?
Nah.
They were, the Jebusites were, Hamites, who were occupying, they were occupying the land of Jerusalem at the time. Read on.
Which spake unto David, saying, Except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come in hither. Thinking David cannot come in hither.
So David went to the Jebusites, who was in Jerusalem, and they were saying, David, first, before you can come in here, you got to take away the blind and the lame. So basically, they don't want to get rid of all the so-called unproductive people who were supposed to be like a burden on society. Take away the blind and the lame. I understand, because they were saying that they were unproductive. They were not like a burden. You have to be sustained and maintained. So they were acting as if they were trying to make give David terms that he had to agree to before he could come into the land. Thinking that David was unable to come into the land. Read on.
Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David.
Right, so David took the stronghold of Zion. Same in the city of David. Read on.
And David said on that day, Whosoever getteth up to the gutter and smiteth the Jebusites, and the lame and the blind, that are hated of David's soul. He shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, the blind and the lame shall not come into the house. So David dwelt in the fort, and called it the city of David. And David built round about from Millo, and inward. And David went on, and grew great. And the Most High power of hosts was with him.
So David said, I'll promote all of you to a position of captains. If you go up and smite those Jebusites, including the blind and the lame. So all those who were hated of David's soul. So David had no love for the heathens. Read on.
Verse 11. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons. And they built David an house. And David perceived that the Most High had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake.
Right, so Hiram, king of Tyre, which Tyre?
Upward.
Tyre.
Tyre?
Yeah, Tyre.
Yeah, that's
He said it's going to be on the east, the west coast of Israel. Tyre is that on?
Tyre should be right above.
Yeah.
That is north.
It's going to be the coast, though. It's going to be the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, northeast from Naphtali.
Yeah, show me another map.
You gotta get
So the king of Tyre.
you get the other map.
Yeah. So they saw that the nations recognized that David was now king of Israel. So these different nations now trying to make make a league with David. You probably show it on a map with 12 tribes, different territories, to see if Tyre is there.
That one right there. The bottom. No. That one right there to the left. Right. Yeah. That one.
That one right there? Okay.
That's right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyre, okay. So, okay. Tyre, right, that's north, that's north of Naphtali and Asher, right there. So the king of Tyre sent, they built cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons, and all that, and they built David a house. Read on.
Verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem, after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David.
Right, so David took him more wives and concubines and multiplied his household, more sons and daughters born to him in Jerusalem. Read on.
And these be the names of those that were born unto him in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shobab, and Nathan, and Solomon. Verse 15.
No, show me you can go back to show me full map. Yeah. I just want to have an idea of the location of Tyre. No, give me a simple map. 2 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go on, read on.
Verse 15. Ibhar, also Elishua, and Nepheg, and Japhiah. Verse 16. And Elishama, and Elida, and Eliphalet. Verse 17. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came up to seek David. And David heard of it, and went down to the hold. And the Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into mine hand?
So David had a long history with the Philistines. he made his name of the Philistines, when he slew Goliath. And when he had a battle with Saul, he had to be running from Saul and hiding amongst the Philistines. And he had to pretend to be an enemy of Saul and Israel to gain the trust of the Philistines. But some of us were still suspicious of David and didn't want him to go to war against Israel with him. So they sent him back to the Philistines. But now David is king of Israel. And the Philistines are saying, this David is now king of Israel? So I mean, they were perplexed by David, saying, what? So now now they want to go up to Israel to fight against David and the Israelites. So no, David was inquiring of the Most High what he should do. Read 19 again.
Verse 19. And David inquired of the Most High, saying, shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into my hand? And the Most High said unto David, go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into thine hand. And David came to Baal Perazim.
Baal Perazim, right.
And David smote them 3 there, and said, the Most High hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me, and has breached of waters. Therefore he called the name of the place Baal Perazim.
Right. So David went down to Baal Perazim and smote the Philistines. Read on.
Verse 21. And there they left their images, and David and his men burnt them.
Right, they left their images, but we didn't want the images. So what did they do with the images? They burnt the images. Read on.
And the Philistines came yet again and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of the Most High, he said, thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees.
See that? David always consulted with the Most, what the scripture says. In the multitude of counsel, there's safety.
Yep.
So David did not, assume that everything was going to be all right. He always consulted with the Most High. He always consulted with a prophet of the Most High, and then he always inquired through a prophet what the Most High required of Israel, or the Most High was permitting Israel to do. But this time the Most High said, no, don't go up. Read verse 23. And when David inquired of the Most High, he said, thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them. What do you mean, fetch a compass? And come upon them over against the mulberry trees. So the Most High was saying, don't go up this time. This way I'm going to take a different course of action. Read on.
Verse 24. And let it be, when thou hearest the sound of a going in the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt be stirred thyself, for then shall the Most High go out before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. And David did so, as the Most High had commanded him, and smote the Philistines from Geba unto thou come to Gazer.
Right, so now this is just getting warmed up now for David while he's king of Israel with the Philistines. But David is at this time a very seasonal warrior, man, because he was a young lad. Young shepherd boy when he first started his so-called career as a warrior by slaying Goliath. And from that point on, he had many situations or altercation with Saul. With Saul, who was trying to pursue David relentlessly, that to the point that David had to be hiding out in caves, in different parts of Judah and Benjamin, and also hiding among the Philistines. But now all that is behind David. Now he's king of Israel. But now he's not just an armor bearer or captain of the host. He's now the king of all the 12 tribes of Israel now. So we have different responsibilities now. So we're going to conclude today with chapter 5. So we'll resume next week, the Most High willing.
You have one question.
Yeah.
Since Moriah, Israel, I thought it was unlawful for a man to take a wife back after she's been with another. She was referring to when David took Michal back.
His wife was taken from him.
Right, see,
He had to-
right. In a case, yeah, right, you see, it's unlawful for a man to take a wife back after she's been with another man. In a situation like this, it was not that she willfully or deliberately committed adultery, because initially she was David's wife, and he didn't put her away. David did not put her away. Understand? He did not put her away. Found any fault in her. It was her father who was a king. Understand? The father was a king who took her away. So because he had all the power over. You got the scripture out? Deuteronomy?
Yeah, 1 Samuel 25 verse 44, where Saul took the wife and gave her
Right.
to another man. So what Saul did that out of anger
Right.
against him. So it was not something that was that
It was not that she violated or transgressed.
Yes.
Right. I read that out. 1 Samuel what?
1 Samuel 25 verse 44.
25 and 24?
44.
44.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 25 and verse 44. But Saul had given Michal his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti, the son of Laish, which was of Galilee.
Right, the Saul did that. She didn't as if she transgressed and went to go to the other man. Saul took her from David and gave her to that man. So she was still David's wife. It's not like in the scriptures where some uncleanness was found in her, and she was given to another man, and that other man found some uncleanness in her also. And no, she want to go back to her first husband. That's not the case.
Right.
With that scripture, was it Deuteronomy 24, right? Deuteronomy 24. And also Mark.
Verse 1.
Okay. Yeah, let's read it. Deuteronomy 24, verse 1.
This is the
Then
book.
get also again Mark chapter 10. Right.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24. When a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no fault in his eyes.
No favor, no.
Okay, Slakia.
Read it
Verse
again.
24. Chapter 24, verse 1. When a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he have found some uncleanness in her.
Right. So in this case, the scripture is talking about a man who was taking a wife, and it happens that she doesn't find any favor in his eyes anymore because what? He found some uncleanness in her. What does that mean? Transgression. She had the transgression that she's committed is worthy of her being put away, being given a bill of divorcement, so the man can put her away. Read on.
Then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house.
Right. So the uncleanness that is found in her is worthy of her being put away. The transgression that she got that is found in her. Read on.
Verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be with another man.
Right.
another
So no.
man's wife.
Right. So he gave her a bill of divorcement, and when she left his house, she can go and be another man's wife. Read on. So in this case, we can see clearly that there was some uncleanness in her. Understand? which uncleanness makes her now worthy of being put away from her husband, being divorced, being given a bill of divorcement. That's not the case with Michal, not with David. Michal was taken away by her father out of spite and hatred for David. Understand? There was no uncleanness in her. Read on.
And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement.
So if the latter husband hate her, maybe he found some uncleanness in her also. Maybe she did the same thing to him, the second husband, that she did to the first one. Or maybe the second husband become aware of her habitual transgression. Read on.
And giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house. Or if the latter husband died.
Right, or if the latter husband died. Read.
Which took her to be his wife. Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
Right, so in the case where if the second husband finds some uncleanness in her, or if he died, she cannot go back to the first husband. That's the scriptures. That's what I believe these sisters are referring to. Well, that's not the case with Michal, David's wife. Okay, she had there was no uncleanness found in her. Okay, she was basically, you could say, forcefully or influentially taken away, or spitefully taken away from David out of hatred for David by her father Saul, and given to another man. Okay, but there was no uncleanness found in her, so David took her back.
You said there was another one in Mark?
I was going to go to Mark chapter 10, but it's all right.
Don't need to?
No, we don't need to. Just going to clear it up.
She said, okay, I understand the difference now.
One God.
All praises.
And Mariam Wapanya, Yerushalayim, stand to face Jerusalem. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hama Aiwa, Ladawa, Hana, Ma, Tawa, Wama, Naayam, Shabbat, Akyam, Gam, Yakad, Kashaman, Atawa, Araash, Yarad, Zakwan, Aharan, Shayarad, Paya, Madawakyawa, Katal, Karamwan, Shayarad, Araya, Tazayawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawa, Yahawa, Habaraka, Kayawam, Iwalam, Bahasham, Mashiach, the water,
Aman. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessings, even life forevermore. Bahashim Mashiach Yahushai, the water tam yad, Aman.
The water Yahweh, Bahasham Ashgawashai. The water to all Israelites listening on the live stream, YouTube. All praise to the Most High, Bahasham Ashgawashai. Don't forget tomorrow, the Most High willing, we'll have the Hebrew class commencing at 11 a.m. After that, then we have the continuation of the Shabbat service at 12 noon. Bahasham Ashgawashai. Most High willing to see you there tomorrow. You're at 2937 West Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida. Show much Kabashai. Shalom. Kefrala.